something really special for you this time, and it's something that everybody in our market has been waiting for a while, and I'm the lucky one that's been able to come out to the European and Middle Eastern launch of the brand new, all new 2018 Jeep Wrangler known as the JL. And we're here in Austria. In fact, we're at a place which is known as Camp Jeep because last weekend they had hundreds of Jeep club members descend on this area and go off-roading in these amazing alpine backdrop that we have here. Let me just turn you around here and have a look there. Lots of trails and great opportunities to off-road in these surrounds over here. Where are we exactly? I think it's a place called somewhere near Spielberg in Austria. It's about 2 hours from Vienna.
This means nothing to me.
Who is that and what is that going on? So what I'll do is I'll give you a walk around of the car, and but before I do that, I'll give you some news, and the news is regarding the price, something that there's been a lot of speculation about and a lot of people are quite keen to know about the price. Now the good news is that what they're telling us is that the Middle East versions, spec for spec, so considering the cars that we get and the spec that we are actually going to get the most competitive pricing compared to both the American market and the European market. By the way, you know that this is the Middle East launch, and you know that this is the Middle East car because it's got Dubai number plates on it. Check that out. Here in Austria we have Dubai number plates. Because why have we done that? Because they brought the actual Middle East spec cars down to this event just for us. And the reason they've done that is because our cars are more closely aligned with the American spec versions compared to the European versions. So price. Now, what they're telling us is the price is starting at 132,000 dirhams for the two-door Sport, and the cars are now on sale in the Middle East ahead of a launch here in Europe, which is about another 2 months away. In fact, I tell you what, I'll put all the prices up here. Now this one is the Sport 4-door Unlimited. We have driven the Saharas and the Rubicons here today at Camp Jeep in Austria. Now one of the things, let's have a look at the rear end actually before we do anything else, because I do like that. It's got quite a distinctive look at the back compared to the previous car, and I feel that it's actually a little bit more retro. It's the same opening procedure, so the side hinge lower part opens first and then the top window just flips up. Now some interesting facts about Jeep whilst we're having a look around this car. You know that 5 million Wranglers have been sold to date since they started selling them, and Jeep have found that their sales in the EMEA region, which is Europe and the Middle East, have increased 6-fold since 2010. And another interesting figure that globally 1 in 17 SUVs is a Jeep, and they want to raise that to 1 in 12 by the year 2020. So that's quite remarkable. I know a lot of Jeep people will be able to tell the difference straight away, but for people like me, it's maybe a little bit harder to tell this car apart from the previous one. But as you've seen, that the back it's quite distinctive. At the side, you've got that slight garnish there just behind the fender, and the fender itself is said to be inspired more closely by the Willys fender, by the original 1941 Jeep. And at the front you have some interesting little touches, because you have the headlights actually going in to the grille. So you see that there, and that is said to be inspired by the CJ, the previous CJ version. And if you look at the slight bend in the grille there, you can just see that that's very distinctive, and that's said to be inspired by the TJ. Also look at the fact that the front wheels appear to be a little bit further forward for better approach angles, and that's because the thing has got a longer wheelbase, 4 inches on this 4-door, but also quite a longer wheelbase on the 2-door as well. This one, as you can see, has got the removable hard top, but they've also got the soft top as well, So they retain those things. Now the thing what they're saying is that it should take only 17 minutes to take the entire roof off and the doors and drop the windscreen. And what they've done, and remove the wipers to drop the windscreen, and what they've done is actually simplified the process by reducing the number of bolts, say only 4 on the windscreen, making it quicker and easier to unlatch the roof. And they've also, what they have provided is a space. Let me see if it's on this one. So in this case I will open the boot up for you, and they've actually provided a space where you can actually put the bolts, which is these little holes here. So these little holes here, door, you see that, door hinges and roof, and then the 4 bolts for the windshield, so that you won't lose them. So a nice little space there underneath there. Now open that up, and it's actually a very spacious rear compartment. And as you can see, the rollover hoop is still intact. The seats of course fold down. And one of the advantages, of course, of the longer wheelbase is more rear space, and actually quite comfortable even for somebody of my size, 6'2" and quite lanky. And I have sat in the back of this car, and there's actually quite a lot of leg room in there. You've got AC vents, you've got cup holders. The specs of these cars vary a little bit. These are Middle East cars, these are also pre-prod cars, so they're not in the final spec. But you do now get things like a leather wrapped dashboard in the Sahara luxury version, which has got the leather seats. This one hasn't. It's got the cloth. This is the sport, of course. Now actually, let's get in the car. Now the other thing about the latest generation Wrangler is that they're saying it's the most comfortable and luxurious Wrangler ever, with the most user-friendly features and electronic equipment and all the rest of it. Lots of extra space in here, connectivity. In fact, if you look down here, you've got lots of connectivity. You even got the micro USB as well as the regular USB, an aux in there. There's an extra USB port in there. Deeper, more spacious central cubby box with actually 2 parts to it, and then you've got the cup holders down here, a little tray here, and some specs, but not in the Rubicon, because in the Rubicon down here, as you may see from the in-car footage, you actually get the button for the diff locks, front and rear diff locks, and the sway bar button over here, and then the diff lock off button over here. This of course is the window control, because you can of course take the doors off, as I mentioned. AC, you can get up to an 8.4 touchscreen with Apple and CarPlay for our market, of course AC and all the rest of it. Actually, let's turn it on so you can see that. It is the latest interface on there as well. You get the high-low ratio, and you also have a reversing camera available as well now for the first time on the Wrangler. Now we will of course try and bring you a full drive review of the car once it's back in our markets, once they actually ship these cars back to our market, and I'm sure that my colleague Imtishan will want to take these off-road into the sand, see what they're like here. Here we've been doing mud and ruts and rocks and that sort of stuff. We've driven them on-road and off-road. I've driven the Sahara on-road, and I drove the Rubicon and the Sahara off-road. Now first of all, the on-road, it still very much feels like a Wrangler, so you're certainly very comfortable in the car if you're familiar with the Wrangler. It feels the same. It still has the high riding feel to the car, but it is smoother, it is a little bit quieter, it's a little bit better insulated, and a little bit more refined. One thing I forgot to mention actually is that now there's a new aspect to the roof. In addition to the soft top and this hard roof that you can remove easily, you now get a sliding roof, which will be available as an option later this year. It's not available straight away, but it will be available later on this year. Engines, we still get the V6 Pentastar with 384 brake horsepower, so it's the uprated Pentastar out of the current Jeep Grand Cherokee. So it's a couple of horsepower more than the previous one that we had in the Wrangler, but there's other improvements to the engine to make it more robust and more torquey and drivable. Bloody hell.
and it's proper
Seriously,
off-roading.
This
It's
is off.
fantastic.
Oh, do we have an hour of this?
Yes, yes.
All this up and down.
Mate, enjoy it.
I'm
This is
gonna need a
European
net.
off-roading. This is mud. This is rocks. This is
I
trails.
don't like mud.
Yeah, you do. It's good for your face. It's good for your skin.
It's not on my skin. It's
Well,
on the
I can-
ground
I-
under the tire. You've just pressed the sway bar button.
Yeah, electronic disconnect for the front sway bar, or for the sway bar. So sway bar basically stops when you're driving on the road and at speed.
Yeah.
Sway bar is simply there to restrict how much
Basically,
the axle's moving.
yeah,
Basically
stop
keep-
the car from sort of
keep
rolling
chopping
about
and
all
rolling
over
around.
the place. Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
anti-roll bar, call it what you
Yeah.
want. When you're off-road, it then physically restricts how far the axle can move.
So
and
how far the
therefore
wheels can go up
it
and down, right,
restricts your
yeah,
off-roading
yeah.
ability. So you want to disconnect it. Now in the old days, that would mean getting out of your vehicle, unbolting a few bolts, getting messy and getting underneath. These days, it's
You
touch
just
a
press a
button.
button.
So, into the deep mud. Here we go. Both axles, both diffs locked. Got the sway bar disconnected, and we got the muddy stuff on an incline. Most excellent. And look at that. No effort whatsoever. Straight through. The guy in front struggled a little bit, and I think
You know what? No joking. But honestly, I was expecting that to be really difficult.
Well, he made it look like hard work because I suspect he hasn't
Yeah.
got his diff locks. It's like, well, you know, the equipment's there.
That's
Make
just all
use
from
of
the
it.
equipment. Honestly,
Make use
we
of
just drove around there as if it was just a normal road. I was
Fantastic.
expecting it to go
Yeah, I was expecting a little
slurping
scrabble,
and the
yeah,
tractions
yeah.
and all of this going on. It's
Yeah.
like nothing at all.
Now we've got all-terrain or mud-terrain
Yeah.
tyres on, so
Yeah.
you know, it's the right tyres for the job.
And
They're-
you know, the point to be made here is that this is a showroom stock vehicle.
yeah,
This is not like you haven't gone out and done anything modifications or any lift kit or anything. This is a
No.
showroom stock vehicle.
no need. Go out and get the Rubicon,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
That's it.
It's ready for the rough stuff.
Extra throttle,
And we've got the rear axle, the
Yeah.
rear diff locked, but not the fronts.
Yeah.
So I mean, the weight's all on the back anyway. So, and it's not
But honestly
especially
speaking, I
muddy.
don't want to jinx myself by saying it's so much easier than I thought, but it is so much easier than I thought.
It's a well sorted. You know, you've got
Because you look at it, because you can't make it out on the camera, but when you're sitting here and you look at these ruts, I mean, literally, like a lamb or a sheep could disappear in there. You wouldn't see it. You know what I mean? That's how deep they are. You just drive over them and have mutton kebabs on the other side. You know what I mean?
Just listen out for the
Seriously,
bleats as we
that's
go
what you
through.
get, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how deep they are. And
Lamb.
they are- exactly.
Yeah, you got one. You got one.
That's it,
Excellent.
that's it.
Kebabs for dinner.
And again, like there's a stump right there, but I'm like, oh, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
It's always entertaining driving with you, Shazad.
So now we're in the bit that I really don't like. It's like uphill, rocky, muddy, up and down, massive ruts.
Got the tree roots
And
growing across, which is
tree roots growing across, tree stumps left and right. Look at this, I can barely like holding on. And God, and honestly speaking, this is the sort of stuff that I don't like. And yet, I'm here. Oh, this is interesting.
this is the quagmire.
This is the
Just
interesting-
slowly through it, one speed, slowly through it. Keep the constant throttle, keep it going, and it's fine. Vehicle does the rest. Light throttle, otherwise you're just spinning the wheels.
Yeah.
There you go. Vehicle does it. Effortless.
That is shockingly good. I mean, honestly, like to me, I look at that and I'm like, nope, I'm stepping. The car can carry on going. I'm stepping out. I'm
No,
not doing this.
please don't do that.
I just literally just get out of the car. I'm like, oh, no, thank you.
Just let me know if you're
And
going to do that,
seriously,
all right?
And now we're going uphill on this bit, and honestly, I mean, God, I am freaking out at the same time, and at the same time marveling at just how incredibly competent this car is. And this is almost fun. Hang on a minute. I didn't like this.
Almost fun.
This
It
is
is fun. This is the definition of fun.
Yeah, I never liked this before. Oh my
There
God,
you go.
as Jeep just made me fall in love
There you
with
go.
European off-roading. That is something quite extraordinary, Jeep. Well done. It's just there, well done. Driving it on the road, like I said, it was smooth. It's very easy. It feels very familiar. And, it's not a sports car, but it does the job fine. It will be very good in our market. The main thing, of course, is the off-roading, and we drove the Rubicon on some incredibly rutted and deep and slippery conditions. The sort of conditions, honestly, I don't like off-roading in. I normally don't like them. They freak me out. I don't know what the car is going to do, and I do it, but I don't enjoy it. I have to say that today, driving the Rubicon in those environments, and it's incredible that you have the buttons here where you can instantly turn it, lock the front diff, lock the rear diff, or lock both diffs, turn the traction off, disconnect the sway bar. And doing that, of course, gives you more wheel travel for those ruts and those twisty bits. You need it obviously for road, but off-road it actually is quite helpful. But to be able to do that at just a click of a button is absolutely extraordinary, and it just made everything so easy. It just, like, you looked at something, you thought that's impossible, and the car was just easy. And I'm not just saying that. It was not only was it so easy and drivable, but it was actually, dare I say, I almost quite enjoyed this sort of off-roading, which I normally don't. So that's saying a lot. And having said that, a little while later we took the Sahara around, not quite on the as severe, but almost as severe routes as the Rubicon. And of course it didn't have the locking diff, but it still scrabbled up everything and did everything just as it should do. These cars are just incredibly competent and capable straight off the showroom floor. It's astonishing what they can do, and I don't know why people modify them, quite frankly. So there you go. That's pretty much our review of the car. Like I said, we'll try and bring you... Oh, by the way, Mopar accessories for the car are available from the word go, including the lift kit. So you can actually, if you do want to modify it, you can actually do it Moparized, and that's available straight away. What else? Anything else I missed? Is 91 kilograms lighter because the bonnet is aluminium now for our market, and it's got aluminium doors as well, and they managed to somehow make the car lighter. So actually the power being slightly fractionally more and the lighter weight actually makes this a little bit more peppy, and acceleration on the road we noticed was pretty good. And on the off-road bit, the constant torque is fantastic. It really helps you driving in that environment. There you go, pretty much. There are lots of Easter eggs. In fact, they challenged us to try and find them all. I won't be able to do that. I might do that when it's back in our market, but lots of little Jeep logos and things all around the car. So that's our review of the 2018 Jeep Wrangler JL. Fantastic car. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think they've taken a product that's already great and made it even better, even easier to drive, and even more competent than it's ever been. It's unbelievable. And I think the value is actually really good. Across the board, it's about 10,000 dirhams more than the outgoing car. So yeah, it's about what you'd expect considering the more advanced technology that's gone into this car. There's our review of the Jeep Wrangler, the first drive at the international launch. I hope you enjoyed that. So let us know what you thought of the car, the review of me, whatever you like. Leave your comments below and elsewhere. And do please follow us on motoringme.com and all the social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. If you're on YouTube, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And hey, you know what? Don't forget to follow me on my Instagram account. I'd love to see you there. Thanks so much for watching. Until the next one.
Rubicon must have some pyar